if you have a child deck app on your phone now, you can open it. You might see a yellow card out running on the platform. So it's possible that the startup is introducing an in-app advertising feature. It's interesting because it is not new to other markets, but it seems new to the Nigerian market. And looking at the what's it called, the perks that might come with it, or the possibilities that exist with in-app advertising, it seems that there should have been more platforms, or maybe e-commerce platforms, or what's it called, food delivery platforms, or grocery delivery platforms that should have introduced this kind of features. But yes, child deck might be introducing this, and more more users might be seeing ads running on their apps when they open it. It seems like a brilliant move, to be sincere, but we need to look at all the things that are surrounding it. Why is Chowder considering this now? What is in it for them? Are there platforms that have successfully done it? How has it turned out for them? So, Shim Gozurim, what's your opinion about this new move, or this move by Chowdek?
Okay. So I think it's brilliant for a number of reasons. One is that as a food delivery, grocery delivery, e-commerce startup, one of the challenges you're always fighting is low margins. It's because you're basically a middleman and you're getting goods and then delivering to someone, just making a very thin margin on all of that. And now, as a result, you need volume. So one way to like stay alive, scale your business, grow bigger than you currently are, would be to look for new revenue sources, right? And I think this is a very great way to explore. Funny thing, I was talking with a friend like a couple of months ago. He runs a similar business, and this was exactly what we were talking about, and I thought that was really brilliant. But yeah, I guess this Chowdek has basically launched it, but like I said, I think it's brilliant, and one reason for that is, according to McKinsey, retail media revenue for retail media could get to as high as $1.3 trillion, right? And that's for the US alone. It could go way more than that, and not just the revenue being really high. So the report also says that the profit margins could be very high, between 50% and 70%. BCG says it could go as BCG says between 70% and 90%. But let's stay conservative, 60 to 70%, right? It's still a huge opportunity. And we've seen a few other outside this market, we've seen a few other players do something similar. So Amazon has an ad network, and last year it made $46.9 billion from that. That is about 10 times, about 12 times how much Africa raised last year, right? Just to put it in context. Walmart.
Startups in Africa.
Yeah, startups in Africa. Walmart did, I think, 3.4 billion. And then Instacart, which is like, I say, direct, a direct, I don't know what's the word there, but basically they operate a similar business model to Chowdek. They made $871 million.
So there's a benchmark.
Yeah, so there's someone you can look at and say, oh, okay, this guy has done this, and because they've done this, we should, or we can make this. So yeah, that's why I think that's like why I think this makes sense for them. There are of course there are a few other reasons. One is that they are growing really fast. In the last year alone, they've hit 500,000 users, and I believe they must have exceeded that number right now. I don't know. They've been reticent in like telling us exactly how many people are active, right? But they have 500,000 users. It's a huge number. They are also growing very, very fast. They have some data on these users, which means they can now push you in front of potential advertisers. So all in all, I think this is great. Would be interesting. I mean, of course, there are I still have like a few thoughts on how this could play out. I guess you have questions on that.
So I think looking at how beautiful the model, the feature sounds, and the prospect, right? Looking at how all those Amazon, Instacart, and Walmart has made from advertisements. It seems like I'm just wondering why hasn't other probably grocery delivery startups platforms or food delivery platforms, even Jumia, Jumia Food, why
Why
have they
haven't
not
they
considered adding
doing
this
this?
feature?
So
All this while.
I think a few people have tried something like this. I just can't remember the exact guys that have done this. I think a few people have tried it, but why is it not yet mainstream? There has to be a reason why it's not mainstream, and that would probably be me getting into the kind of challenges I think they would run into in running this. So first is there's huge opportunity here, but on the other hand, advertising is an entirely different beast. You're playing in a market that isn't your core strength. So do you want to split your attention? So let's look at Jumia, right? In order for Jumia to get to where they want to be the company they want to be, they are shedding with eliminating business lines that they do not want, right? So if you build out advertising capabilities, you are basically going into an entirely different business, right? You need new skills. You need to learn. You're learning entirely, like, it's different. You need very good algorithms. Unless advertising is difficult, right? We know that from personal experience, but we also know it from X, right? X is like the world's village square. Everybody goes there, but for some reason, people prefer advertising on Meta platforms to X. So that obviously shows you that advertising can be very tricky. Yes, you have the numbers that people want, but there has to be a reason why they come there. So if you, as a business, if I say I'm going to be advertising on Child Deck, for example, you have to deliver on the promise that drove me to you or that attracted me to you in the first place. If you do not do that, then I would most likely take my business elsewhere. And so, like I said, I think they would have to develop advertising skills, or maybe hire someone to run that part of the business. I actually think they would do. So yeah, you guys are talking about, or we're talking about tapping into Google. Yes, that is or maybe any other ad platform. That is a possible route for them to go. But I have a feeling they would want something more customized. So
Yes,
if they,
because you know that these people, for them to, they're deliberate coming to your app,
yeah, so
they want to come and use your service.
exactly. So it's not like, I mean, so on Google, for example, like I'm going there, maybe I'm just looking for information, right? So it's slightly different from maybe I'm on Child Deck. I want to buy food, right? So yeah, I think you need advertising capabilities, but something else I'm
I
also
think it's
thinking
just
about
to add
is
to their team,
is what?
like include have a team that handles that, and would they have to also develop their infrastructure?
Yeah, they would have to, because I believe building software for fintech, for grocery delivery is vastly different from building software for advertising.
Surely when
Right.
you're not plugging into Google AdSense.
Yeah, or even any existing provider, like it will be different. So you need that experience. You need to understand how people buy stuff, why they buy things, and all of that. So they would probably be making. I kind of expect people to, like, I kind of expect them to be hiring for someone to run that part of the business very, very soon. So yeah, it makes sense, but it's not going to be as simple. And I actually expect, if they can crack it to some extent, right, I expect others who might be at that scale, because again, the scale that you're at would determine whether you're a valuable ad platform. If you have maybe 30,000 users, of course you can build an ad product, but perhaps I would not be as eager to advertise on because 30,000 users, how many of them are active? I may not be that eager.
Yeah,
when
but is there
compared to
like
these guys.
a flip side to this. Like, okay, now it might look like good business
Child
for child deck, but
Mhm.
on the customer side, is there a flip side? Is there anything they can be worried about? Or a downside it might be for child deck, and the customers might say, let me just go with competitors.
Okay, so I mean, I already mentioned one, which is that advertising is different from grocery delivery. So you need different skills, you need different considerations for all of that. There's a risk that a new business line takes you away from your core business line because Child X advertising cannot work without Child X food, grocery delivery, medicine delivery, all of that. Right. So one is required for the other to work. So there's always a risk that they over concentrate resources on trying to make this ad work and they neglect or they kind of lose sight of the core business. There's always that risk. So yeah, that's always going to be one. But the other problem I think they could run into is pissing users off, right?
Right.
You have you get ads literally everywhere you go. And I know people don't pay for YouTube Premium and they are cool with getting every big companies in the world use BigQuery.
I don't
They
know.
are cool with that, right?
I don't know how to. I can't remember that life again.
Okay.
See, I'm not being
Well,
proud, but I can't. I don't know if
you're
I
not being
can.
proud, but you're being proud.
I don't know if I can use YouTube with ads again.
Okay. Anyway, whether you can use them or not. So my point is that everyone is using, like you see ads everywhere. And do I really want to be seeing an ad when I'm about to buy food? A lot of people will not care, to be honest, but a few people might.
Yeah.
So you risk pissing users off. But on the other side, or on the other hand of pissing users off, is for you to build an effective ad product, and I'm talking about meta level effective, you need my data. And people are getting touchy
With
about
data.
their data. It doesn't look like Nigerians are catching on really quickly, but we are seeing
As fast as we have expected, right?
not really as fast as I would have expected. I mean, see, the thing is, you need a certain level of education to care about privacy and all of that. That's what I think here. You need a certain level of education, maybe even a certain level of sophistication for you to care about your data privacy. So I do not what do you call it? I do not expect them to have issues with Nigerians yet. But I mean, they're already collecting data. So the thing is now, what are you now collecting my data for?
What am I using it for?
And what are you using my data for? So that's probably one of the challenges they could have. Would users
maybe the time we start having issues is when you are with your friends talking about shawarma, and then the next thing that pops up on your screen on child deck is shawarma. That is when we start
I'm talking about my spoiled AirPods, and then I go on child deck and I see
Oraimo AirPods.
Exactly. So people may be touchy about their data, but yeah, if you manage it well. So far, I don't know that the likes of Amazon and Walmart, for example, have major problems, like major complaints from users on that. So, well, all things being equal, they should figure that out maybe over the next few months, and then we can see what the market looks like. To listen to the full episode of this podcast, visit podcast.techpoint.africa or search for Techpoint Africa Podcast on your favorite podcast platforms.